In this new segment of Advisor Revelations, the DPL team will discuss how to evaluate new solutions and address current challenges and the strategies that can help you grow your firm and AUM.
Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of the Advisor Revelations podcast. My name is Blake Reitnauer. I'm an internal consultant here on the team at DPL, and also I'm joined by Tyler Caummisar, who is also an internal consultant here on the team. Today, we're going to be discussing pension replacements and what that means for your clients, and also some broader trends on how defined benefit plans are starting to go away, and any more retirement is now on the individual client at the end of the day. So Tyler, would you mind giving yourself a quick introduction here?
Absolutely. Thanks, Blake. Again, my name's Tyler. I'm also one of the internal consultants on the team here at DPL. And just want to thank Blake for having me on here today, and happy to have this discussion.
Yeah, so before we get started into some of the content here, just wanted to reiterate, make sure to visit us at dplfp.com and make sure to subscribe as well to the podcast, wherever you do get your podcasts. So just to kind of open up some broader macro trends of defined benefit plans, Tyler, what do you see as kind of the main trend overall for defined benefit plans at this time and where those are heading?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, first and foremost, it's important kind of to understand what, a defined benefit plan is doing from a high level, right? So traditionally, a pension is going to be a way for a client to fund their retirement. Now, historically, right, a lot of that risk has been on the employer to fund the retirement for their employees. You work 20, 30, 40 years for a company, and then they give you a pension when you retire to live on. So historically, right, clients didn't necessarily have to worry about where a majority, or at least a lot, of their retirement income was going to come from, because we knew, we were going to get a pension when we retired. Now, pensions are becoming less and less common, outside of government jobs. They're very uncommon these days, right? And I think that means a couple of things. It means that the risk is now on the employee to fund their own retirement. That risk has kind of shifted from employer to employee, right? So I think that is one thing to take note of. Just the fact that clients are going to be more responsible for a lot of that retirement now. But then B, right, because this is more of a client responsibility now, right, they're going to be talking to their advisors about this more and more. So I think as an advisor, it's important to, at least have a general understanding and know how to talk about this and how to position this when clients bring it up.
Yeah, and it's a great point there. Just in general, retirement is on the end client now, and with 401ks and defined contribution plans. So advisors need to be ready to have discussions to their clients and how they best structure that with these sort of plans going away. So just to kind of explain some of the differences here, Tyler, between a traditional pension and an annuity, what are the differences and, what are the similarities between the two vehicles?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a great question, Blake. So I think, starting with the similarities at a high level, right? Both an annuity and a pension are typically used for a lifetime income stream, right? So what we're looking to do is create an amount of income that our client can never outlive, regardless of, exactly how long they do end up living. And I think, right, one kind of key difference in a traditional pension versus an income annuity, right? Historically, with pensions, they're looking at level payouts. So, when you're getting ready to retire, typically there's a lump sum offer, or there's an annuity that you can take through the pension company that's going to give you X amount of dollars every month for, as long as you live. Right. And typically that's a level payout rate. Whatever you are seeing as the offer on that pension, that is exactly what your monthly income is going to be for the rest of your life. And, for some clients, having a level income, it may make sense. But for a lot of clients these days, they really like the idea of rising income throughout retirement, right? Particularly as inflation continues to be a concern. We don't want to lose purchasing power over our retirement, right? So a lot of these annuities are actually structured with performance-based step-ups on your income amounts, where we may start out with X amount of monthly income, but if our account returns 5% that year, we get a 5% increase to our income for the next year. So annuities are actually able to have inflation adjusted riders, where you are able to get increases on your income based on the performance of the account. So I think that's one key difference to kind of be aware of and take note of.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. And just in general, modern annuities seem to have more flexibility than a traditional pension. And in the era of having the amount of options that we do, with all of the different carriers that offer these solutions, when your client gets their offer for their pension, or they look at their options on the sheet of paper they get from their employer, in the era of having so many options like we do today, it makes sense to look at all of the options you have available, not just the one that gets put in front of you, but being able to use a partner like DPL to shop the options and see, across 30, 40 different options, what really is best for the client. Maybe it is that pension they have, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's something different. And that's what I think we're trying to highlight here today is, in the era of options, what's really best for the client? Let's use the data and analytics and find it out. So you bring up a great point on the income for pensions, Tyler. So let's dig a little bit more into the difference between joint income or maybe reduced scheduled benefits on how pensions and annuities operate differently. So looking at a pension for joint income, how does that differ from modern annuities and how scheduled benefits may decrease?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question, Blake. And I think that is something else that is very important as well, right? A lot of times when a client is retiring, of course, if they have a family, if they have a spouse, right, they want to make sure that they're covered too. So even if something does happen to them, right, you want to make sure that your family is going to be taken care of. So a lot of pensions, both pensions and annuities, actually will offer you single lifetime income based on just yourself, or you can actually use a joint lifetime income stream, based on both you and a spouse, that would actually guarantee those payments will continue to come until the second of the spouses have passed away. So as long as one of the two of you are alive, it is going to continue to make those guaranteed payments. Now, where this looks a bit different with a pension and an annuity, typically in a pension, right, once you do pass away, the surviving spouse is not going to get 100% of the benefit that you had been getting prior to the first owner's death, right? So, historically, and it's going to be different based on what company it's with, the particular policy that you're looking at. But usually, right, you're going to have reduced benefits once that first spouse passes away, if we did joint lifetime income in a pension. And I don't want to give any concrete numbers. I'd say, historically that might be around 70, 75, 80% of what you were getting before. Right. But it is important to know that, hey, if one of these clients does pass away, well, now, we may not be receiving as much income from the pension as we were before. So now we may need to look for additional, resources of income. With an annuity, your joint lifetime payout rates, the way the products are structured, they base those payout rates on the younger spouse and their life expectancy. So when the first spouse passes away, right, there is no reduction in those payments. The surviving spouse is not receiving less of a benefit now, right? That income number is going to stay the same. Or if we're using a a rising income stream for inflation adjustment, right, that surviving spouse could actually continue to get annual increases on their income. So I think that is another key thing to take note of and be aware of, when evaluating pension versus annuity is, with an annuity, those joint lifetime benefits, they're going to remain the same after the death of the first spouse, where with a pension that may not always be the case.
Great. Yeah. Thank you for that, Tyler. That's a great point to make. Also wanted to bring up, just if we look at pensions and annuities in general, comparing the two, just objectively, pension was built for the employee of a company over a long period of time, not for the spouse of that employee. An annuity is built for a couple or an individual. It's built for whoever is purchasing it, not just a long-term employee of a company. So annuities are really built for the people that are purchasing the solution. So that is just in itself going to give more value to, a joint couple in terms of not lowering scheduled benefits or giving more income and increasing income like we've discussed. Just to expand on that a little bit further, Tyler, what is the difference between a death benefit, between an annuity and a pension in terms of, maybe annuitization or having a death benefit? What does that look like between the two vehicles?
Yeah, that's a good question, Blake. And I think that also touches on what you had mentioned a little bit earlier, just with some of the flexibility and differences that are in some of these products, right? So traditionally with a pension, there's not really going to be any residual death benefit that is left to beneficiaries, right? Typically you can select a lifetime only that's going to pay for just your life. You can select a joint life that, will pay until you and your spouse have both passed away. And typically, again, it's all pensions are not created equal. Some companies will give different settlement offers, different ways to actually receive that income. Other instances you may see lifetime with a period certain, where we know that, we're at least scheduled to get payments for X amount of years, 10, 15 years, right? But with a pension, there is not going to be any residual death benefit that is left over, right? So after you and your spouse have passed away, the pension's gone. If you didn't take that lump sum up front and just took the annuity, and then something were to happen, right, there is no leftover money or death benefit for beneficiaries. And when you look at annuities, historically, that they operated very similar, right? In the past, before income riders were very popular, you'd have to annuitize your contract to actually begin receiving that lifetime income, which, right, that essentially would work the same way as a pension, where now we're forfeiting the cash value, we get that income stream, but there is no leftover death benefit. With a lot of these modernized and commission-free annuities, they actually utilize what are called guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefits. So we're able to receive guaranteed withdrawals for life without actually having to annuitize the contract, right? So what does that mean? We have more flexibility with our assets, right? With a pension, if you don't take that lump sum offer up front, right, it's gone. You cannot go back, 5 years down the road and say, hey, we had a major health event. We need the rest of the lump sum that was offered to us a few years back, right? You can't do that. With an annuity, you actually have more flexibility. So you get to draw down your balance and actually maintain control of the asset. Your funds get to stay invested. You can still tap into that lump sum, your initial premium in the annuity if you were to need that, right? So I think when you couple that with a few of the other things that we've mentioned, it becomes very powerful, just having that flexibility later in life. We don't necessarily know what the future has in store, what's going to happen, when our client may need access to X amount of money. So I think, the all else equal, right, the more flexibility you can have within a plan, the better off that's going to be for a client.
Yeah, flexibility is whenever you can retain flexibility, it's great. So that's an amazing point to bring up there. So we've discussed a lot of differences between pensions and modern annuities and how modern annuities might be better. If you're working with DPL currently, or if you're not, it's a great time to reach out to a DPL consultant or DPL and see if you have a client who fits this mold right now, and see whether or not their pension is really the best option for them, or if there's something better that we could help place for the client and get them in a better situation. So kind of to break down how that happens, now that we've talked about some differences between the two, Tyler, would you mind adding some color on how we would actually replace a pension with a modern annuity, how that operation works functionally?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another really good question, Blake. I think it's important to kind of understand the logistics of it as well, right? And I'd say there's honestly a couple of really good places to start when you run into a situation like that and need some analysis. If you are already working with DPL, of course you'll have an assigned consultant you'll be able to reach out to. They're more than happy to walk through some of the options with you. But if you're doing just more high level research or some kind of preliminary discovery, right, DPL actually has a few analytical tools on our website, dplfp.com, where you're actually able to run some of the analysis on this yourself. So if you register for a free account and go to your My DPL portal, you'll see we have several different kind of analytical tools where you can evaluate different client situations, right? And there's one in particular that's a guaranteed income analysis tool. So this is a tool that can really be used to kind of evaluate, a scenario of, hey, does my client want to take this pension, or maybe we want to look at an annuity instead, right? So when you're running the analysis in that tool, it actually lets you run it a couple of different ways. Typically, when we're looking at a pension, what we're comparing is, okay, in our pension offer, the annuity was going to give us X amount of income per month. If we take the lump sum number that was in our pension offer and enter that into our guaranteed income analysis tool, right, it'll be able to tell you exactly how much income you can guarantee your client based on that lump sum. And oftentimes what you'll see is we're actually able to improve the client's guaranteed income amount by taking a lump sum from the pension and then placing that in another annuity and receiving income from another annuity, as opposed to just taking the first offer that was given to them in a pension. So we have those tools available to advisors to leverage. I think it could be really helpful in this particular scenario. And as you were mentioning earlier, again, in the era of options, right, particularly as a fiduciary, as an RIA, right, I think it is important to look at all of the options out there. Sometimes the pension may be better for your clients, sometimes it may not, but right, it is important, that you are at least doing the research. You are making sure, we're leaving no stone left unturned, trying to find the best solutions for our clients.
Yeah, it's a great point. And just to kind of close on that, like you said earlier, not all pensions are created equal. And it's the same reason that we go to a grocery store. It's because we want options. We don't just want one solution. We want 20 or 30, and we're going to pick out the best product for us, depending on the price and the quality of the product. And it's the same thing for pensions and annuities. And that's why we do it here at DPL. So if you are thinking about reaching out, reach out to us and let's take a look and see if we can find a better solution for the client. I appreciate the time here, Tyler. Thank you for everyone for tuning in. Again, we urge you to subscribe to wherever you find your podcasts, and please, visit dplfp.com and check us out there. Thank you, Tyler, for the time today. Really appreciate you hopping on and adding some color on pension replacements and how we can help clients find better solutions here at DPL. Thank you all.
Thanks for watching. Visit dplfp.com to learn how we can work with advisors like you. And please, for more updates, subscribe to this channel.